All right, guys. Hey, Rob here again with McDojoLife. I'd like to thank my sponsors real fast because, damn it, I like to buy nice things and they help me do so. So thank you for FightBackCBD. Thank you, Gold BJJ. And also thank you, MMA Pack. You guys are amazing. And as of recently, thank you so much, Fuji. You know what? Me and you can be cool, Fuji Mats. I appreciate the hell out of you. So my guest today, I'm really excited about. Not only has the man a wealth of knowledge from just trial and error training over the years and years and years of doing it, but he has a well-known YouTube channel, Fight Tips. I have Shane Fazen on with me today. What up, man?
What's up, man? Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. Thanks a ton.
Yeah, man. Thank you for hopping on. I always have one thing I've noticed about the internet, which is hilarious to me at the same time as irritating, is you always have people who complain. So you always have these complainers, people who bitch and whine and moan. Oh my God, why would you have so-and-so on your show? First of all, I like your stuff. I think that your stuff is amazing. I really like the fact that you add a lot of kickboxing in your stuff. But people were complaining about videos that you had years ago. We're talking when you had like white boy dreadlocks. You know what I'm saying? Like this was a long ass time ago. And there was two videos that came into play. One video was of you kicking a knife out of someone's hand. And the other video was a video of you doing defense in a car. Now, the defense in the car thing, I defended up and down because I think that what you said, you go have a 5-minute video, and in that 5 minutes, you discuss a lot of options. And one of those options happened to be if you had a knife to stab the person. And I'm like, yes, I would do so. I just don't understand why people are not about open discussion. Have you had a lot of backlash about videos? Do you have a video that sticks out that you're like, yeah, I got some shit for that one?
Anything with knives is an impossible topic. Like there's always going to be people saying that what you taught is wrong and this is the way that you're supposed to do it. And in reality, there is never any one simple answer. And that's anything in self-defense. There's never going to be one foul-proof technique that beats everything. People want to believe that. People are either, like you said, they're closed-minded, or they've been taught by an instructor that they're very confident when they teach. And this is a lot of the stuff that you show. People are a little bit brainwashed. Even if it's not dim mock stuff, it's still, this is the move that you have to do, and this is the only one that works, so practice this. And then when they hear otherwise out there on the internet or from other instructors, they automatically think that they're teaching bullshit. And I think I really do. I think you're going to believe what you want to believe, no matter what. You're going to believe what you want to believe. Whether it's true, whether it's false, it doesn't matter. And that's why it's really hard to fathom that people will actually go and be the demonstration partners for the videos that you share, where someone does the death touch and the person just falls over, because it's like, you're not actually like, why do you actually fall down? Why do so many people go in there and believe this stuff? Why do people pay so much money to go to these seminars where people just teach obnoxious, made up stuff? And it's just that you're going to believe the story that you tell yourself, no matter what. You're going to fall victim to it if you put yourself if you surround yourself with those people.
And yeah, I hate yes men. I think those are the worst people to be surrounded by. They're enablers to your ego. They feed it, very similar to how like a troll on the internet is the opposite of that, right? They're always there to pop your bubble no matter what you say. Like yes men are just as bad on the other end of the spectrum. Now, I have noticed one thing that I actually find fascinating, which is the main reason I really wanted you on the show. You, to me, over the years of doing YouTube, have seemed to evolve in what you teach. It doesn't seem like you stay stagnant and just do the same shtick over and over and over again. From what I can tell, you go out, you find training with other people, you train with top-notch people, you train with people who might be a little controversial, but you train with them. I noticed one big one, which is actually somebody I guess you could say is mutual between people who follow us, is Tony Blauer. And so Tony Blauer, I have to say, for a puppy, but Tony Blauer, I have to say, for a guy who got a lot of crap because of the he did a CrossFit self-defense program, and he kind of made a self-defense program based off of CrossFit, but you went and trained with him. And, Tony Blauer has years of experience. He had the spear system, which I actually like the spear system. I just wasn't a big fan of the model that he put forth for the CrossFit gyms. What was your experience like with that?
Honestly, I know nothing about what he's done with CrossFit. I know he's an affiliate with them, but I love the stuff that he teaches. I think it's no BS. I think it's simple in the fact that when you're in the heat of the moment, when you're fighting and someone pulls a knife or someone gets in your face, you're not going to be able to do Wing Chun, wax on, wax off stuff. You're not going to be able to do, you're not going to be able to assume your fight stance, whether it's boxing or Muay Thai or whatever it is. Because most of the time when street fights start, it's going to be a sneak attack. You're going to get ambushed and you don't have a chance. And I've done tons of drills with Tony to prove this true, where he puts on the high gear suit, which is just like looks like a motorcycle helmet, and it's full protection over the entire body. And that guy will play the bad guy or the douchebag. And we create this whole scenario where we get, we're driving in the car and he cuts me off and we get out in the parking lot and it's 10 miles down the road. And at this point, you're supposed to pretend like you had already forgotten that someone had cut you off. So this guy completely catches you off guard and he pushes you from behind and you turn around and he's in your face and he's already in your face. Before the drill starts, Tony says, if someone's right here this close to you, what do you think you're going to do in that situation? And I go right here and I look at the range and I look at the position. I go, probably a lead uppercut is going to be the one that they don't see coming. He's like, all right, cool. Just keep that in mind. So we do the drill. The guy's this close in my face. And there's a small moment where I'm thinking, oh, right, I told him I would do the uppercut. And as I'm thinking that, this guy's throwing a haymaker at me. He's throwing a right hand. And my first reaction is this. And that's kind of Tony's whole thing, is the spear is you're going to flinch. If you're getting caught off guard, no matter how many repetitions, how many hours you've trained, your double leg, your uppercut, your helmet guard, your parry, no matter what. And it's funny because he's so many visual proofs showing this, where it's a beetle. I forget which beetle, but let's just say John McCarthy flinches or cocks his hand back at Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Ali does that.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not afraid, right? But or Paul McCartney, Jesus. And then a scenario where, like at a batting stadium, or a baseball stadium, where the baseball leaves the batter's hand and is flying into the crowd, and 10 of the people that it's flying towards, they're all doing the same thing. So his idea is you're going to flinch. It's just in our human nature that we're built that way, no matter what. He has pictures of fetuses doing it in the womb. So the idea there is you're going to do it. It's just a bridge to your next move. So the flinch is going to happen. Let's weaponize the flinch, make it more dangerous. And then we can go into our Muay Thai clinch and we can get the plume, where we can get head and bicep control. Or from there, we can start working our boxing. Or we can push up on the elbows and get the double leg takedown. So I really do. I like what Tony's been teaching. I like what he's been developing over, 30 years of his life. So I agree with it. But I also see why the way he shares it, I could see why it gets a lot of crap. I could see why it upsets a lot of people.
Yeah, it was really interesting because there was something, it was like 2 years ago, and the video went viral of the CrossFit self-defense that was put together. And it was one of his instructors, not himself. But the way that the instructor was trying to basically make every exercise in CrossFit relate to a self-defense exercise was just utter nonsense. And, he called me after I had called it out. He literally hit me up as soon as it hit. And he was like, hey, man, can I talk to you? I was like, okay. It happens to me often. Like, the instructors will try to contact me about context and stuff. Yeah. And I never take it down unless I feel that I've made a mistake. And if I make a mistake, I have no problem apologizing. I'll go live. I'll have them on with me. We'll talk, and I'll apologize if I feel I made a mistake. But for that one, he was like, yeah, the guy probably shouldn't have said it that way. And but his stuff that I've seen with the spear stuff is so legit. And then I saw this stuff and I was like, damn, why would you put me in this position? I feel like I have to do my job and call out bullshit. But at the same time, I feel like he's done so many good things, it's tough. It's tough sometimes,
I guess as information gets passed along, it gets a little more watered down and a little less legitimate.
Yeah, it's really difficult because, really, I have 5 very simple rules that I stick to when it comes to what I call out. And I don't typically do it because people send it to me. I get thousands of videos a day. I get most stuff is just that's Taekwondo. That's what that looks like. That's Wing Chun Kung Fu. That's what that looks like. But it's when something is just astronomically ridiculous, right? Over 22 years of being in this business, and I see something, I'm like, I have no fucking idea what that is, and I feel really bad for those people. Those are the stuff that I try to stick to. But in your experience, I noticed back to what we were talking about with the evolution of your YouTube channel. You used to do a lot more self-defense geared stuff, And then now, I guess because of YouTube or Instagram and because things have kind of progressed, you do a lot more kickboxing, Muay Thai instruction. You actually go and travel, which you and your wife, I guess, built out and tricked out a bus, which is sweet, by the way, and you traveled. So tell me a little bit about your travels while you were teaching some seminars and stuff.
Yeah, so well, I guess the evolution of the channel. You know what I've come to realize is Fight Tips is very much a video vlog of my training, of my life training, and I've only taken down videos of information that I thought was unsafe, or I mean that's pretty much it. And that couldn't have been any more than 2 or 3 videos. And off the top of my head, I can't even think of any. But things like the knife videos or the self-defense videos, what I realized is they were based on real experiences that I've been in when I was growing up. And a lot of it was more of what Tony refers to as a douchebag fight, and not an attack. You know, not a criminal or someone breaking into your home or someone ambushing you, but it's mutually agreeing to a fight with someone, then being able to assume your fight stance and then fighting. So pretty much like a no rules but organized street fight. So a lot of the stuff that I was teaching back then was, I think, more street fighting stuff and less self-defense stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes complete.
That's why even like if I still to this day, if I'm at a distance with someone with a knife and they're going like this at me with it, I probably still am going to use my foot, which is wrapped up in a leather shoe, and keep my distance as much as possible. Then I am going to close the gap, or I'm just going to turn and run. You know, like so it's. I do think it's different scenarios, and most of the times, if you watch actual knife attacks on the street, it's an ambush. It's in a closed proximity. It's in a closed area, and people are going to get super close. They're going to grab your shirt with one hand, and they're going to try to shank you with the other. Of course, my technique in that video would never work in that scenario. But yeah, so the evolution of the channel grew from there. I continued to focus on striking, so Muay Thai, boxing. I have a Taekwondo background, and I've incorporated that in. And now I just consider myself a striking coach. You know, I have been traveling the world for, I mean, the first time I was in Thailand was 2010, so almost 10 years ago. That's when I had a pro Muay Thai fight back then. And that's when I realized I wanted to start taking coaching more seriously. So I got hurt in that fight, came back, started focusing on boxing. Took a couple amateur boxing matches, and that was always my thing. I always wanted ring experience, always wanted firsthand experience before I ever taught it. So I knew what worked, I knew what didn't work, I knew it was crap and easy to make up. And then just with a focus in mind, with just shifting my mindset towards coaching, that's what it was. I mean, I changed the videos to be more sport oriented, to be more instructional based for MMA combat rather than street self-defense. Although working with Tony now, we've been discussing bringing back this self-defense type stuff. So we got a lot in the works.
Yeah, which is awesome, man. I think that I like when I see the community kind of band together and work with each other instead of working against each other, which all the way up, I feel, until roughly about 1996 or so, maybe even later, maybe even to the 2000s. It was always segregated. All the arts were so segregated. If you were karate, you were karate. You read Black Belt magazine. Jiu-jitsu was super gay. If you did jiu-jitsu, you were like, oh, Taekwondo people are stupid because if you kick me in the head, I'm going to yoke you up, dump you on your head, and choke you to sleep. And it's always been so segregated because of the massive amount of egos that are involved in the arts, right? I can't associate myself with this guy because you like that guy and I hate that guy, so now we can't talk. I hate that bullshit. I think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world, and I think it stifles the growth of the martial arts. Whereas if we can look at somebody, for instance, I had Master Wong on the show, and if you've ever worked with or talked to Master Wong, the dude is nothing but energy. He's got like a very charismatic presence. He's got a lot of energy. I would say he's probably like most of us, where I would say 90% of what he says is probably really, really good. And the other 10% is based off of our own personal experiences and applies only to us. You know, like for instance, like if I said I want people to learn Taekwondo, there's always going to be a guy with no legs going, Taekwondo is stupid because he has no damn legs. He can't do it. Right. And that's fine. You know, there's 10% of what any of us say that's going to be bullshit to the rest of the world, no matter what and how experienced we are. It's just life. Right.
Yeah.
But I just feel it's so sad when I see people ripping apart all these other arts when they could just ask them questions. You know, that's why I like doing these live. is because these are complete opportunities for people to join in, ask the questions they want to ask, talk to the people that they want to talk to. But I noticed that they just wind up bitching. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, and I love that mixed martial arts has been that unity to bring people together. And there's still people in the MMA world that will only train wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and Muay Thai, and they don't believe in the other stuff. But then you got guys like Anderson Silva, and Anderson Silva lives nearby, and I've trained with him. I trained with his son, and they're so open-minded. Like they always bring people in from different backgrounds, different styles, because they just are hungry for learning more stuff. And to me, that is true martial arts. It's bringing people together. It's being open-minded. It's being eager to learn and eager to grow.
Yeah, man, 100%. Now, you did a tour, which I thought was really, really cool. We kind of touched on it a second ago. I just want to go back to it. You tricked out a bus. How long did that take you to do?
Yeah, so we got a Mercedes Sprinter van. We bought it used. My wife had told me all about it. She saw online on Instagram and vlogs and stuff that people were souping it up, that they were gutting a van and insulating it and putting in hardwoods, and we put in a bench system that turns into a bed. We have a faucet, a sink, a countertop, a toilet. It's fully insulated. We have a fan in there, and we drove from Los Angeles, and we just did a big circle. So we went up to Chicago, then out to Philadelphia. We stayed in Philly for a while. Then we came south, and then back home. But along the way, we hit up a lot of people. So the first stop was like the Mayweather gym. I got sparring in at the Mayweather gym. That was a huge bucket list check off for me. We saw the Muay Thai World Expo in Iowa, they had a couple registrants shy of 1,000 people, which is like one of the biggest amateur martial arts tournaments in America. That was amazing to see. Did seminars along the way. We went to Chicago, Pittsburgh, Philly, met up with Michael Chandler in Nashville, did some sparring with Wonderboy Thompson
who was awesome, by the way. Awesome dude.
Oh my God, one of my favorite people. Yeah, super nice, super talented dude. First of all, I didn't realize he would be that big, but he moves like he's my weight, like just super agile, always balanced. And he does a lot of he'll throw the right hand and then the right roundhouse kick comes over top. And it's you relax after blocking the right hand, and then your shoulders down, and then he's resting his foot on your neck, and you're like, thank you for being controlled.
That's that for karate, man. It's there.
Yeah. Got to meet Ray, his father, great instructor, great coach. It's still very traditional there. Like we all had to sweep up and mop the mats afterwards, which I loved. Then we started heading back west. We went through Texas, met up with a couple friends there. And then we went to Jackson Link in New Mexico, and that was like the cherry on top.
Yeah, dude, that facility is incredible. It's incredible.
You've been there?
Yeah, I went and I shot with Master Ken, who's also in Albuquerque. And
okay.
Yeah, when I was there, which would have been awesome if you now he's there. So the next time you go back, hit him up. But he actually trains too. He's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. He black belt in kempo. But when I was there, I stopped by because I was out there shooting with him, and I was like, of course I'm going to stop by that gym. Well, they had like a closed training session. All their training sessions with their top name fighters are closed. So like they don't want anybody interrupting or bothering them. So I walked in, and the owner or the manager there, who has like a desk, like right when you walk in, he's got like a little office area there. He didn't know who I was. And so he was like, hey man, you can go upstairs and you can look down, but he's like, don't interrupt the fighters. Don't talk to the fighters. And you can't go in because they have the double doors that you have to kind of have access to. And so I was like, okay, cool. Not a big deal. And so I'm standing upstairs and I'm just looking down on Michelle Watterson and Holly Holmes having like a training session. I was like, this is the coolest shit ever, right? It's like a bird's eye view of like their training session. And so I'm sitting there enjoying it. And the janitor, the superintendent, walks by, and they're adding more rooms to that facility now. Like they used to have they used to only have like a wing sectioned off just for like the dormitories. And then the rest was like the Bohai Tower stuff and the doctors. And then the rest is the training facility. And they were building more. Well, he walked past and he goes, hey man, I recognize you. And I go, oh, that's cool. And I go, yeah, I run McDojoLife. He's like, oh my God. And he gave me access to the building. Like he walked me around. He introduced me to everybody. And it was just incredible. My favorite part of Jackson Winklejohn is the dormitories. You go back to the dormitories, and it's just nothing but posters and writing on the wall. And it looks like if you would give like a fraternity house access to like their facility and just let them fuck it up. Like that's what it kind of reminds me of. But it's like legit, you know, it's the coolest thing ever.
Yep. There was people in there cooking, and then you look over and you see Alistair Overeem and Andrei Arlovsky and John Jones and Michelle Watterson, all their autographs on the wall. Dude, you feel the energy when you're in there. You really do. You understand why so many champions have come out of there. They just have the right system. They just have the format for it.
Yeah, everybody was real cool too. I didn't see anybody who was rude or standoffish. Like you got to pay to be there. Like it's not free, but all the people were just like so humble and cool. They all took the time to talk with me and chat. It was very cool.
Same. And Greg Jackson was like one of the nicest, coolest, funniest guys ever. He's like, I just met him that day. We did a 15-minute interview, and he's like, what do you got going on for the rest of the day? And I was like, oh, well, I'm coming back at 4. And he's like, oh, well, it's 2 now. You want to just hang out in my office here? Here's my keypad to get back in. He gave me his personal password to get back into his office, and I just met him. Really cool guy.
That's awesome, man. So how'd the rest of the trip go?
It was great, man. It was really nice. It was nice to we wanted to turn off a little bit more, meaning like get off our phones. But since it was a work trip, we wanted to vlog the whole thing. I was still on it all the time, if not more than usual. But it was really nice to just spend time with my wife and dog and travel. You know, that's what we like doing. That was our 5th time actually going driving cross country, because we're from Philly originally, and we drove to LA 5 years ago now. And then we've driven home for the holidays back and forth a couple times, but we enjoy life on the road, so we'll be doing it again.
That's cool. Yeah, Philly's funny because, like, you know, the Rocky Steps.
Yeah.
What is that called? What is that building called?
It's the art museum.
There you go. Yeah, because like when I was out there, I was, you know, just any social media job is going to require you to travel. Just period. If you want to collaborate and work, you got to go to where people are. But I was in New York, and we just drove over to Philly to like film over on the Rocky Steps. And it's the funniest thing because, one, the Rocky statue is not at the top of the steps. It's like on the side, like you can take pictures of it.
They recently moved it. That was in the past like 10 years, I think.
Oh, really? So it did used to be on the top.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, this is silly, because I was like, what the hell's the point of me climbing these damn stairs? I was like, it's right here. So like, I'll just hang out over here by the statue. But we wind up like walking up, and as you walk up, everybody's got their cell phones out, and they're all playing the Rocky theme. So like that's all you hear is like all these different cell phones playing the damn Rocky theme as people are jogging up the steps.
I haven't been there in forever.
Yeah, man, it was unique. It was like different. It was cold as shit too. I'm from Florida, man. It's like 100 degrees and I feel cold. And like up there, it's like, you know, it was like snowing, I think, the day before we got there. So it was like all iced over and it was freezing, but it was worth it just to see it. It was a unique experience.
Did you get to go in the museum? It's actually a really nice museum.
No, I didn't go in. We filmed on the steps. We were filming like a fight scene on the steps.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was
so what other work do you do besides McDojoLife?
This is it now. This is it, dude. Like, I've been a martial arts instructor for the majority of my life. Since I was 16, I was an assistant instructor. And then when I became 17, well, at 16, basically my instructor at the time, because I started when I was 12. But my instructor at the time was just like, yeah, you've been assisting me long enough. Here, start teaching. And like, I became the head instructor of that facility at 16 years old, which sucked. And it was a terrible idea, but I did it. I did the work. Then, you know, I wind up leaving there, working for one of his instructors. I did that for years, learned a lot about business, but that guy was a huge dick. So I had to leave, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to open up my own. So I opened up my own karate school for 4 years. And then as soon as I did that, I was like, I really want 10 black belts before I die. It's been like a dream of mine to have 10 legitimate, real black belts before I pass away. And so I thought that would give me the best understanding of all of this, because there's so many different arts. And I started taking jujitsu like immediately. As soon as I opened my karate school, I was like, I need to learn something. And I was like, this is going to take me the longest. There's no other art that's going to take this damn long to figure out. So, and then I started that, and then they bought me out. They bought out my karate school. They were like, hey, man, we see that you teach after school programs. We'd love for you to take that business model and do that for us. And so I did. I quit teaching karate and I went right to teaching jiu-jitsu because I had been doing it for roughly about 6 years by that time. And I could teach children and I felt very comfortable with that. And, I was their striking coach and I was very happy with the process of teaching. I love to teach. It's one of my favorite things to do ever, just to take somebody who knows absolutely nothing about what they're doing and to watch them evolve and go, hey, I helped do that. Like, there's nothing better than that, man. And so then this blew up like out of nowhere. I just became a thing where I was just like tired and fed up because there's no regulating body to the martial arts. So I got tired of people just getting away with whatever they wanted to get away with in this industry. Kids being molested, people losing hundreds of thousands of dollars on charlatans and frauds, instructors abusing students, which I've seen many times over the years, no matter what art it's been, like people getting hurt because of shitty training that was a ridiculous reason they got hurt, so I said, fuck that. I'm going to start calling it out. Let me start stirring the pot a little bit. And then out of nowhere, it just blew up and it became a full-time job. And I was like, well, shit, maybe I have something here. So in January, I quit teaching full-time. I still teach here and there. I still teach seminars here and there. But for McDojoLife, now it's all about growing the brand and trying to get the community together. And one thing the community is really good about is we all complain about the same things. We might not agree about the same things, but we all complain about the same things. We all get upset when we see that there's a pedophile running a studio. All of us across the board, no matter what art you believe in. We all get upset when we see somebody ripping people off. And so I found that rather than trying to unite people in the arts through what we have in common, or what we don't have in common, you do karate, I do taekwondo, but we still should be happy together. That doesn't seem to work. But if I go, hey, man, y'all hear about this pedophile? Everybody comes together and for a cause and goes, you know what? We do need to stop that. And so I found that niche and now it's all I do for a living. And it has been amazing. It's been just the coolest shit. Like, for instance, like Wonder Boy Thompson. We were just talking about Stephen Wonder Boy, right? Like, we're talking to that motherfucker like once a week now. And we every once in a while are going to hang out and play video games. Like, that's strange to me. Or like I went to LA. And I was in LA for working on the documentary that I'm filming about fake martial arts. And then Mike Beltran, the referee, Mike Beltran, he just hits me up and goes, hey, man, I'll pick you up from the airport. I was like, okay. And then so here we are. I'm getting on a plane to go get picked up from Mike Beltran to go train at Kenny Florian's studio in LA.
Wow.
And just yesterday, or it felt like just yesterday, I was at an after-school program teaching 10 kids an after-school karate stuff that they really kind of wanted to know. Some of them were there because of their parents. Some of them were there for behavior problems, but like, it's just such a surreal twist of fate. I mean, you got what, 2 million people that follow you on YouTube, right? So what was the change for you? What went from like, oh, I'm having a regular normal life now to, oh shit, it's not.
Oh man. It was definitely a gradual process, which was nice. It was an easy transition, but no, I mean, we first started off, we were just uploading videos to our own website, fighttips.com. That was before YouTube was even around. Then YouTube came out in 2005 and we started uploading them there. And I wasn't paying attention to it. I was just using it as a place to like store my videos. And then I came and looked back at it like 2 months later and I had like 8,000 or 10,000 subscribers and all these comments. And I was seeing that. I was seeing all the success stories, like the comments of people saying like, this is great stuff. I couldn't find any instructionals online because this was when the internet was still small. It was still young.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I wonder how old the people are that watch your stuff, if they remember what the internet was like back like 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's much different. Well, back in the day, like going viral was not as difficult as it is now,
Yeah. Yeah, there was like a handful of videos back then. You remember when like AOL still had CDs in like local pharmacies and stuff? And
I do. I remember them being at checkout stands. They were just chilling.
Yeah.
Still had the dial-up.
You would install the internet. But yeah, so it was, like I said, it was a gradual process. I saw that it was growing and I saw how it was reaching people and helping people, whether it was just introducing them to martial arts or fighting their bully or obesity or depression. And I saw the power that it had, and I just kept doing it. I just stuck with it. And like I said, it was sort of a video blog. It was I was logging what I was learning as I was learning it. So I would go to Muay Thai class, I would practice something, I would get good at it, and then I'd wait a couple months and I'd use it in sparring or I'd use it in a fight, and then I'd come back and I'd share it in a video. I'd say, this is something that worked for me. This is something that my instructor taught me. And people were really just appreciating it. I think like the big moment for us was probably, well, when we decided to just quit our day job. So I was a bartender, I was a personal trainer. My wife worked at she was a manager at a clothing store. We both decided to quit our jobs and move to California, and then just focus on building up the channel. We were kind of hit a rough patch there, where we were eating like 49-cent frozen burritos and and struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
And I remember just having this talk with her. I'm like, I think what we're doing is just too niche. I don't think we can make a business out of this. And I think I either have to join a gym and start teaching again, or I don't know, we got to figure something else out. And it was in that same day we got an email from Bellator MMA saying that they wanted to collaborate, they wanted to team up and fly me out to events and do videos with the fighters and instructionals. And I think that was the moment at which it was a pivoting point for us, and we realized the potential that we had. And that's when I started hanging out with guys like Josh Thompson and Michael Chandler and these guys that I looked up to and idolized for such a long time. And now I'm in videos with them. And yeah, I think that was it. That was the moment.
Yeah, man, that stuff's so surreal, man. Those moments where I think the most surreal part is when you are at an event or around people who, you know, probably only a few years before, like you actually fell into it at the very beginning. So you built your house at the beginning. And so you were steadily working on that from the entire time. And of course, that comes with its own ups and downs, right? Like, people don't know the struggle. Social media work is work. It's like, it's a 24-hour-a-day job that never stops, and people only want more, and they only want better, and they demand it of you all the time.
Yeah.
Why most people don't read the damn comments, man. Like, the comment sections are evil. But yeah, there was I guess like the most surreal, to like a fighter magazine, Fighters Only magazine. They do the MMA awards, and they do them every year. They've done them for a couple years now, for several years now, actually. But I was like at a bar, and I just like looked around, and I looked at the people that were in the room, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, I feel like the peg that doesn't belong, you know, like you feel like maybe I don't fit in here, you know? And I had that moment. I was like, have you ever had that moment where you were just like, fuck, I'm some dude from YouTube, man. And like, you guys kill people for a living.
Well, I mean, times are changing, right? And they see you're there for a reason. You got that invite to go there for a reason. And your channel, your Instagram page is doing well for a reason. I think I think I got that email from Bellator because we showed initiative and we moved out to LA. Therefore, we were local, and they were looking for someone local in that area. They showed that we were dedicated to our work and that we were uploading 3 videos a week, and we had been doing that for years. I think, no, man, I think you earned your position to be there. I know you're not a killing machine, maybe necessarily like these guys are, you know, but you're a martial artist. You've dedicated your time. You made a business that helps other people and that entertains and empowers people. And no, I think it's good to be humble, but it's also good to recognize your work and tell yourself the story that you want to believe. You're gonna, like I said, you're gonna believe what you want to believe, and I think it's good to pat yourself on the back from time to time.
Amen to that.
Yeah. There we go. Right.
So somebody has a question. Let me see. WC Swan says, do you know anything about systems arrest technique? I don't know what that is.
Systems? I don't know if that's like the keyword there, or if it's arrest techniques. Honestly, not my forte. No.
Yeah.
If you're looking for restraints and handcuffing and that kind of thing, I would say Gracie Jiu-Jitsu has a really good program on that. I really like what Henner's all about. I love his style of instruction. I'm a student over at the Gracie University.
Systema technique.
Okay. I know nothing about Systema, to be honest.
Yeah, Systema is pretty fucking crazy. So to me, like, this is just my opinion, and I could be completely off base, but from my years of studying BS, Systema their claim to fame is that they teach the Spetsnaz the Russian special forces. Now, the problem with that is like any other military or law enforcement, they don't just have one system or one dude come and teach them. They hire many different people with many different backgrounds and experiences to provide their soldiers with the best of the best that they can provide them. So whenever I hear that lie, it kind of irritates me because that's, first of all, that's a whole load of horse crap. Second, if you've ever seen the Men Who Stare at Goats movie, and the Men Who Stare at Goats was basically a real military experiment that our U.S. government did, to where they basically gave this dude LSD, and they were like, hey, there's these goats over in another pen, like in a building next to us, and each one of those goats is numbered, and we want you to think of a goat and see if you can kill it with your mind. And ironically enough, however they did this, one of the goats died while they were doing this experiment. So the U.S. government thought, oh my God, there may be something to this. They spent millions and millions of dollars pushing into this special psychedelic psyops training for our U.S. military government. And they got a actual like squad, like 10 to 15 dudes to try to develop their mental psychic abilities for the U.S. government while all on LSD. As weird as that shit sounds. Go ahead.
What year is this?
Oh man, I think this was in the 70s, 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, man. If you get a chance, check out the movie. The movie's funny, but it's based on something that really happened.
How does Systema tie into that?
Well, so here's like my theory, right? And so if whenever people say, yeah, man, I was in the military, and they use that as like the staple for their badassery, like, okay, but like you do understand that the military hires out martial artists and experts in combat to teach you. So like you being in the military, especially McMap is just awful. But then, the military teaches these people, right? And so they spend all this money. Systema's claim to fame is simply that it was taught to the Spetsnaz. Well, if you look at any military government, just because you taught military enforcement doesn't mean you're the best in the world. And two, military makes stupid, silly mistakes quite often. Not downing our U.S. military. I'm just saying sometimes we make mistakes when it comes to training. So Systema's hot garbage, but the biggest problem with Systema and the Men Who Stare at Goats thing is they actually believe that they can manipulate people by moving them with their mind. They can touch you in the chest and you fall over. There's actually a video of the guy who runs Systema, the guy who founded it. His name is Mikhail Rybov. Very rotund gentleman, very healthy, if you will. Big bone.
Okay.
Big bone.
Have you shared videos of him?
Yes. Just
okay.
Ridiculous.
Okay.
I've actually posted some of this stuff up too.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, and he's got this one video where he actually literally like, where's my camera? He is there it is. So he grabs the dude's finger like this, and the guy is frozen and can't move. Like can't move at all. By his fingertip, just like this. Boop. And the guy can't move. And like the other video that he has out is him laying on his stomach. This is one that he's laying on his back. And a gentleman, they're in a room, what seems to be a seminar, and a gentleman stands over him and puts his hands on the guy's belly. And the gentleman flexes his stomach and shoots the guy back like 5 feet.
Okay, that is him. I did see that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because I've heard of Systema. I think the first time I heard of Systema was like Batman. They talked about how like Batman uses it in fight scenes. Like they took a Systema instructor and taught anyway. And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. Like maybe it's theatrical or something. But then I started to see more dim mock and tomfoolery like that. And I didn't understand the connection there. But you know what that makes me think is just like a lot of people or a lot of martial arts styles are a business. Like the growth of the martial arts style is more of a business than it is a martial art. There's a lot of parallels with religion, with martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, I think you have to be open-minded. I think you have to learn. You have to learn and do your research and question things and take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah, man. Because, oh man, it's just, I could go down that rabbit hole for hours, the whole parallels between religion and martial arts. But, you said something that I think a lot of good martial artists, I think this is why a lot of good martial artists fail, just to repeat and to stop myself from babbling. But I think a lot of good martial artists fail because they have that stigma that making money in the martial arts is a bad thing. It's been a stigma forever. Tons of great martial artists, their schools close up because they're not willing to go out and learn business systems. They're not willing to learn how to get new students, how to learn retention, how to build a better community inside their studio, which is one thing I always look for when I go into a studio is how the community feels. You know, what is the vibe that you get? Because then you know what kind of class you're going to be in for, and whether it's going to be a rough neck one or we're going to have a good time or both.
Yeah.
But I think that it's a shame, man. Why? I mean, that's my opinion. I just think a lot of martial arts studios who are good fail just because they're terrified to make money. They don't want to be labeled a McDojo because of that. And I think that that's silly.
Yeah, I mean, we do consultant work where we go to gyms and we help them run their program or start their gym, and that's been the number one thing is trying to shift their mindset into understanding that needing money needing money isn't a bad thing. Wanting money isn't a bad thing. It's the lifeline of your business. It's your oxygen. And if you're not breathing, you're going to die. If you're not making money, your business is going to die. And all the time, every time we ask them, we're like, well, what do you guys want to do? Like, what's your goal? And they're like, well, I want to help, spread Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu or whatever they're teaching. And I want to reach as many people as possible and change lives and help people out. And we're like, well, if you don't have a gym, if your gym shuts down, how are you going to reach these people? Don't you want to expand? Don't you want to do the opposite? Make the money, have a really good product, help people learn martial arts, expand your business, get a second location or grow this location, then you can reach more people. Yeah, I agree, man. And that's a stigma that I think is slowly disappearing. And it's weird that people will still guilt you for making money with your business. Like, it is a business and it's a fine line. You don't want it to be Systema business where you get too big-headed or power trippy, but you have to make your money. You have to sustain your business. You have to grow.
Yeah, people all I get a couple questions often. One of the biggest questions I get, and then you can just look at the comment section to find out, but they always ask, well, why is nobody saying anything, or why are these people allowed to continue to do what they do? And the truth is, in my opinion, they learned business systems. They learned how to sell a brand. They learned how to get that brand out to the masses and continue to grow a franchise. And whereas if you look at the mom and pop jiu-jitsu academy where there might be a 5th degree black belt in jiu-jitsu, just open up a studio, you would think, man, that place is going to do great. That's not necessarily so. You might make a great pizza, but if nobody knows that you exist, no one's going to eat the damn thing,
Yeah, marketing. Yeah, a lot of people assume, like, I've had 1,000 fights. As soon as I open up these doors, people are just going to start walking in. But like you said, if they don't know where the gym is or that you have a gym, they're not going to come.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. I really wish more martial arts studios would get business consulting, get a mentor in the business industry, so that way they can learn how to grow. So that way we have less of the stuff I post every day. I mean, it'd be great if one day, like, my goal is to eventually rebrand this fucker. Like, I don't want to just I'll probably always call out the BS just because I think that it's necessary. But one thing that I would like to do is do more stuff like this, man. I'd love to do more interviews with people so that way people can find out more about the people who were successful in the arts and what they did and what their journey was like and stuff like that. Or, being able to at least bring the community together in a positive way where instead of just being a constant thorn in people's sides who rip people off, although that's fun. I'm not going to lie. I really do enjoy that.
Yeah. No, I think it's awesome what you're doing, man.
But tell us a little bit about what's going to be next for Fight Tips, man. What's going on with you? What do you got coming up in the future?
Working on really big things right now. The gear launch, we're doing another gear launch. So our first 3 launches that we did so far, we did lace-up gloves, we did a double end bag, we did our hybrid gloves. They all sold out within hours every time we did it. And we're now starting to scale. So we're going to get things haven't been decided ultimately yet, but we're going to get more gear. We're going to get more attire. We're going to expand in that realm. We're also going to step into, wait, hold on. I don't know if I want to say this out loud yet. We're working on some really big things that are going to change the industry. I'll say that.
I thought you were about to give me an exclusive, man. I thought you were about to drop some bombs.
All right. I just signed my contract with UFC. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's all still in-house stuff. We're scaling. We're scaling the business. We want to get a lot bigger. There's been talks of opening up a physical location. There's been talks about new series and opening up or starting an online curriculum, and the gear is going to be tied in with that, an app. So that kind of
Well,
thing.
that's great, man. I really think you should. You have the audience for it. You know, obviously, you know what you're talking about. I'm a fan of lead leg sidekick, so anybody who throws a lead leg sidekick is cool with me. It's my opener, man. I started in sport karate, dude. Coming at you, lead leg sidekick, round kick, hook kick, and just interchange those and see which one sticks.
I'm an even bigger fan now, Rob.
Dude, it's such a under two things that are underutilized tools, not so much in kickboxing, but still kind of in kickboxing, but more so in MMA, is a teep or front kick for anybody who's not familiar with the lingo teep. I think that it really helps benefit you, and it stops people from wanting to just shoot in so quickly because now they're worried that they're going to get kicked in the face rather than the stomach whenever they go for a shoot. So I really do enjoy a teep, especially in a defensive way, rather than being so aggressive stepping forward, which leaves your lead leg so vulnerable to a leg kick. And also, I love a defensive side kick and a what they call like a lunging side kick. I enjoy both of them for two different reasons. Like a defensive side kick is really cool, especially if your lead leg fails and or you set someone up. So like, let's say I throw like a lazy round kick, either off the front or back leg, it doesn't matter. And I choose to just whoops, it fell. And then you decide to come in and counter with a cross. I can just take a step back. I already have the lead leg there and stuff a side kick. Probably one of my favorite things to do to people when I spar. It's really easy to draw people in, and it's not that difficult, especially if they feel you're retreating. And then a lead leg side kick is beautiful because to me, how I like to explain it to people I teach, it's like crossing the moat, you know? So like, it's like the drawbridge, except instead of it being from the castle side, it's from your side. So I'm pushing the drawbridge down. I'm closing the distance and the gap. I'm closing the gap so that way I can get past your legs and use my hands. I mean, I love side kicks. I think they're so versatile. And plus, it lets the lead leg be light. So if somebody's going to start ripping into leg kicks, you can just draw that leg up off the floor. They kick underneath it. They miss. You shoot in for a side kick. It's a beautiful kick. I love it.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you. You know what's funny, though? The teep, I think if you watch more Asian MMA organizations like One, I think you're going to see more teeps in there. I think it's more of the UFC, Brazilian, American. I think they use the teep less, but you know, it was a great teep. Connor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Really well. But I agree with you.
I like it's funny to see guys like the top level guys, they have great knockouts with it. You look at Leona Machida, you look at John Jones, you look at Anderson Silva, they all have knockouts with front kicks to the face.
Yeah. Oh man. Remember Leoto's and Anderson against Vitor was like virtually identical. Remember that?
Beautiful. Yeah, it's like so underutilized. Like people need more teeps in your life. If you haven't front kicked somebody in the face, you were just missing the sweetest piece of pie of life. I also, just as kind of a side note, which is much more difficult, I understand, to pull off in MMA just because of the rule set, all the different things you have to worry about. You have to worry about the clinch. You have to worry about the takedown. You have to worry about all these other things. But I love a good axe kick, especially like if you set it up with a lead leg side kick. Lead leg side kick, it comes up. They're looking. They're seeing a side kick hit them, especially if you bomb it. Like if you hit them hard, even if they block it, they're going to want to block it more. And then those hands draw down, and then all of a sudden you draw your knee up to chamber it. They see side kick. They read side kick. No, lies. Axe kick coming at you. Wham. And you just get the satisfaction of seeing the bottom of your foot just graze across their face like in a super gross motion. I like it.
Oh, man. I agree with you, man. We're seeing more of it. We're seeing more of that Taekwondo, karate, leg mobility being used now. I use axe kicks in sparring all the time too, because I can still just place it and just like you said, just gross like face.
You don't know where my feet have been.
In the mouth, yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to use that as a note to wrap this up, dude. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I'm really excited about all the stuff that's coming out. If you need help pushing any of your stuff as well, I'll try to make sure my audience sees it because I really believe in what you do. I love the fact that you put stuff out there that I think that empowers people to want to train, gets them excited to train. You're giving different combinations, and you're promoting a lead leg side kick, which, as we discussed, I enjoy. So I love all that stuff, man. Congratulations on all your success. Do me a favor, though. I have 2 questions before we go. One is, I love stories from the dojo. They are my favorite things ever. They're stories where you had to be there. You had to be in the dojo, whether it be a day-to-day thing where you were just teaching a class, some random dude walked in, or there was something that happened that was funny that only happened in the dojo, something that most people would probably not know except for yourself because you happened to be in the dojo at that moment. Do you have anything like that?
One that comes to mind, it's not I wouldn't say it's a funny story, but it was a shocking experience.
Oh, I'll take that, man. I'll take that all day.
Not going to disclose the name of the gym, but it was when I was traveling overseas. I'll say Europe. We'll be that broad. A spot in Europe where I stopped in. I was there on vacation with my wife's family, and just went in, dropped in for a day class, and it was fight training. So it was like the pros in there. I was like, all right, that's cool. I'll do some sparring. So I'm warming up. And it's a tiny gym with blood on the walls and dirty, and we start doing partner drills, and the coach that's leading it, I realize, is very hot-headed, very short-tempered. He starts throwing his pads at the fighter, screaming, cursing, throwing at him, kicking him, pushing him all over, yeah, like bad. And I'm just kind of like looking out of the corner of my eye. So we start sparring, we're moving around, and then and these guys go hard. Like, it wasn't light sparring, it was hard sparring. I remember I was limping when I left that place. Anyway, he and I team up for clinch after sparring. And we're clinching, tie clinching, right? And then I go for like a low body lock. And he jumps up, puts both his shins on the inside of my legs, and just starts elbowing me in the head.
Oh,
like,
shit.
No pads, elbowing me. Yeah, and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? So I'm like, nervous, scared. My face is red. And I'm like, I didn't think we were practicing elbows without elbow pads. And he's like, that's fucking illegal, man. You do that again, I'm cutting you open. You hear me? And I'm like, I didn't know that was illegal. And he's like, well, now you know. Really,
it's illegal. That's not illegal.
Yeah, it's not. I know. But yeah, so I look around the room and everyone's stopped. Everyone's staring at me, and everyone. And I'm like, yes, sir. I'm like, I understand. Sorry about that, sir. They slowly go back to it, and then after that, I grabbed my stuff and I was out of there.
Man.
Dude, I thought I was getting rolled out in there.
Yeah, man. It's always weird. Like, something that happens to me quite often. I either get people I get 3 kinds of people. They're really happy that I'm training at their gym and they're open arms. Most of the time, that's how it is, which I'm excited for, right? Get to train. That's all I want to do. Or I get the people who want to see what I'm made out of. Or I get the people who think I'm calling their gym out. and so it's like, I'm not calling your gym out. Do you see a camera? Like, I'm just training, dude. Like, why would I want to be here if I was...
Has anyone ever turned it on and tried to bring it to you?
Yeah, dude. So I had this experience. I was in a Krav Maga studio of all studios. I've been to a few. So if you think it's your Krav Maga studio and you're like, that didn't happen, then it wasn't your studio. So don't freak out if you think I'm talking shit about you. But again, I won't name the studio. But I will say that I was in the Midwest somewhere. But when I went there, a friend of mine had invited me to the program. He was like, hey, man, why don't you come to Krav Maga with me? He goes, I want you to check out my facility and tell me what you think. And I was like, cool, of course. I'd love to go. So I went and we did the class and stuff. And then we started off with like a warm up. And the warm up, most facilities is like 10 minutes, maybe with an extension of 5, maybe 15 minutes. Then we get to technique or whatever. We wind up doing our warm up for 30 minutes. So we're doing this 30-minute. Well, the class is only an hour. And so we're doing this 30-minute warm up, and like, it's like grinding warm up. It's ridiculous. It's like, all right, shoot, sprawl. All right, jump high knee, do it again. Shoot, sprawl, jump high knees. And I was like, okay, cool. So we get at it, but then the time just kept ticking. And they keep running us through all these different exercises. And finally I look at him like, dude, are your warm-ups usually like this? He goes, no, they've never been past 10 minutes. And so I kind of got the idea. I was like, oh, I see. It's because I'm here that they're doing this. All right, that's cool. And then I got to the gist of it once we got there, and I was like, all right, cool. Well, now they go, all right, break for water. So we break for water. Me and that guy are chit-chatting. They go, all right, guys, go ahead and put on your gloves and shin pads. And I go, do you guys usually do technique with both gloves and shin pads on? He goes, no, never. I go, oh. They go, all right, guys, we're changing it up today. We're going to spar. And I
Huh.
was like, oh, motherfucker. And then so it started to dawn on me that the whole reason they were doing these long-winded warm-ups was simply because they were just trying to get me really, really tired. So that way we can go to spar and they could beat the shit out of me, which unfortunately for them, I'm not great at anything. I'm really not. I'm very much middle ground, right? I love sparring. I love stand-up striking. If I had to say I had anything above anything, I would say I'm pretty good at stand-up kickboxing. You know, that's majority of my career has been. You know, 6-0 amateur boxer, 4-2 amateur kickboxer. I was on an international sport martial arts team for 2 years, sponsored. So if anything, I'm okay at that stuff. And but one thing I can say that I'm really, really good at is I have great cardio. I don't know why. I just don't really get tired. I don't know why I don't get tired. I just don't get tired. I wasn't born that way, right? I keep a steady pace. This is how I am. And I just don't get really all that exhausted. And so we went to go start sparring, man. And like those instructors just kept calling me. It was like 5 black belts from their organization. And they just kept rotating in with me and no one else. And I was like, they were trying to put it on me. The biggest problem that I saw, though, which was a saving grace for me, wasn't that I really beat the shit out of them or anything like that, or like it wasn't like we were competitive. They were being very competitive. I'm always just pretty much even keeled, like, man, it's just another day in the office. And they were just expecting me to get tired. And I think it just frustrated the shit out of them that I wasn't. And so after we were done, you know, all their instructors were just really tired because we did like an hour worth of sparring. So they went 30 minutes over their class. And afterwards, they were all like gasping because they don't really put a lot of emphasis on their sparring. They put like more emphasis on like weapons, knife stuff, self-defense stuff. They don't put a lot of emphasis on putting gloves to face, when I love that stuff. And it was just so surreal to be done and like walk out of there and just go, I think they were trying to hurt me. Let's go have lunch. Like, weird, you know?
Yeah, that is weird. Huh.
But yeah, it's
no injuries. That's good.
yeah, it just is what it is, man. At this point, I'm just always, I get death threats all the time. I don't know how many death threats you might get, but I get them all the time.
Wow, I never thought about that. Doing with what you do. No, actually, I don't get a lot of hate, to be honest,
Awesome.
which is really nice. It's really nice, yeah.
Yeah, I love
that. and saying that, it's still probably like 50% is all hate comments, but
yeah, but
I get like 98% hate.
Dude, they crawl up into my DMs and they threaten my life. They're like, dude, when I see you, I'm gonna end you. I'm like, why? They were like, I saw how you did that guy. He's a friend of my friend. Like, okay, well, don't you think he should defend himself instead of you? And like, why are you threatening to shoot me? Because I've been threatened before. And it's kind of getting old. It is what it is, man. I knew what I was signing up for when I got into the business.
Be safe.
But last thing, I want people to know where they can find you. How can they find out about you? Where can they follow you? I'm sure most people already know, but just in case they don't know, where can they follow you on your social medias? How can they learn more about you?
Fight tips. Search for fight tips. One word. Tips on fighting. Fight tips. I'm Shane Fazen. You'll find me.
Yeah,
I'm on all the social webs, interwebs.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate that. You're awesome for that. And whenever you have stuff coming out or whatever, just hit me up and I'll make sure I help promote it.
Of course. Thanks for having me on, man. I had a great time. Appreciate it.
All right, man. You have a great, fantastic day. Deuces.
Thanks, you too.